Yay. The Facebook Live worked. Yay. I'm so excited. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Robertson, the founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and the founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. I'm here today to share the speaker portion of our Connections Over Coffee gathering. Andrea Hylen is speaking on connecting with your ancestors during the holidays. Andrea is devoted to healing intergenerational trauma, grief, and loss with creative expression and the ancestors. She is the mother of 3 adult daughters with ancestors from Scotland, Ireland, England, Sweden, Germany, and Mayflower settlers. She started the organization Heal My Voice after experiencing the loss of a brother, son, and husband. And she is a writer and somatic-intuitive coach trained in orgasmic meditation and energy modalities. Andrea is a life scientist, experiencing all life has to offer. She lives a house-free lifestyle with a mailbox in Los Angeles and embodies the possibilities of a sharing economy. And you can see Andrea's contact information in the text. Andrea, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. So for anyone who's listening to the recording or watching this live in Facebook, in our group, we just broke out and we were talking about what we enjoyed about the holidays and things we'd like to change. So I'm feeling energized by the beginning of this, this entree into connecting with your ancestors during the holidays. All right. So everyone, I chose to give this talk while we are smack dab in the middle of the holidays, so you could reflect on what is happening right now. What are you experiencing this year? Are past traditions inspiring you? Do they make you feel happy and fulfilled? Are you overwhelmed or grieving? What is working and what is not working? What do you need or want to change? Yes, you have the power to change things and do things differently. So I'm going to share a few stories and reflections about the holidays and talk about ancestors in a bit, around traditions that we may be connected to or we may have lost. And I have some thoughts about our disconnection from the cycles of nature and seasons that may be affecting us also. When my kids were little, I now have 3 adult daughters. I'm going to say they're all in their 30s. One of them is about to turn 30. So they're all in that age group. But when they were little, I introduced an annual tradition of choosing a different country every year to learn about holiday traditions and rituals. We had celebrations in December with St. Lucia Day from Sweden and Feast of the Virgin of Guadalupe from Mexico, Boxing Day with England, and Hanukkah parties. We would cook traditional foods, play games, make crafts, and sing songs. With a European Nordic ancestry that includes many different countries, I feel, even though I didn't know it at the time, that there was something calling me to the traditions of my ancestors, a longing for connection to something that was lost long ago. I was searching for meaning and purpose for the holidays that were beyond the Swedish cookie recipe from my father's Swedish roots and all these presents under the tree. Like, what is that all about? I've wondered what we lost, since everyone here has had some experience of the United States. And I know, Emily, although you're in the Netherlands, that you were from the US or had the US experience, that when we crossed the Atlantic and came to the United States from another country or countries, we lost language. We lost a rootedness to the foods we grew. We lost traditions that were passed down from the elders. We lost a connection to the land. And then, did we come here by choice or by slavery or indentured servitude? Did our people come with us, or did some of them stay in the original country? One of my friends is in Prague, in the Czech Republic right now. Last week, she was in Vienna, Austria, and they're at the European Christmas markets. She and her husband love it there. They love shopping and the traditional food. My friend has ancestry from the land, and I know it brings back memories of traditional foods her grandmother and mother cooked when she was growing up. The European Christmas markets have become an extravaganza that goes on for weeks and weeks, and it's huge. So I was curious about when that tradition of markets began. Originally, the markets started in the Middle Ages as a way for local people to come together and purchase and trade food and goods. And the gathering would last for one day or several days. And then during the Protestant Reformation, this celebration of St. Nicholas uh, like got moved in a sense to December 24th, although I know it's alive and well in Europe. It really isn't in the United States. Martin Luther wrote hymns and influenced traditions that we still do today, like the Christmas tree. Well, this was a shift only 500 years ago. So I've been wondering what traditions were lost because of organized religion. And then let's bring it to the United States and the tradition of Thanksgiving. When did the celebration of a feast become a focus on gluttony, football, and family drama? No, I'm not enjoying anyone I'm not judging anyone who enjoys Thanksgiving. I personally do not celebrate it. But I'm asking and wondering because I really want to know how we became so disconnected from the things we said we were celebrating to this wild frenzy. Began to shift in me about 25 years ago when my kids were in elementary and middle school. Life was so busy during November and December, and by the time Christmas came, everyone was sick with colds and exhausted from all the holidaying that we were doing. I had a bronchial cold 7 years in a row, started at Thanksgiving and ended around February. I would power through all the activities until I collapsed. And then one year, I had had enough of the crazy rush, rush, rush family obligations, material purchases, and sickness. So I declared that year that I was wearing my pajamas all day on Christmas. I was willing to go to the movies, which we occasionally did. I was willing to go to a family dinner, but I was wearing my pajamas. And instead of protesting, my kids and husband loved it. And it has still, my adult daughters have this tradition that they've continued. And some of our friends even joined us one year at the movies, all of us in our pajamas. So there was something about that sheer act of rebellion that began to give us all permission to slow down. I stopped getting sick. Many years, we stayed home for days, watching movies, playing games, listening to music, taking naps, and eating soup that I made and put on the stove as a help yourself when you're hungry type of meal. I feel that something in me was trying to reclaim the power in the stillness. Did our ancestors honor the darkest time of year in a way that was different? What did our ancestors know that we have forgotten? And are we longing to reconnect with the cycle of the seasons instead of the commercialism and the end of the year tax cycle? So, one way to reclaim a connection with your ancestors is to tune into the stillness and the dark. All of us on this call are in the Northern Hemisphere. Next week is the solstice on December 21st, the darkest night of the year. And with that in mind, I want to share some simple things that you can do to slow down and connect with the wisdom of the dark. It is a time that nature is calling us to be still, to listen, to go within. So, just as a presencing, rituals are a way to deepen the connection with unseen spirits of your ancestors and even unravel burdens while bringing you more of the blessings of your lineage by developing this relationship with the unseen. So, you can add some simple rituals like lighting candles before the sun rises or after the sun sets. Light the candles and just sit in the dark. Even for 5 minutes, just sit in the dark, acknowledge the dark. Be silent, play quiet music in the background, look out the window at nature. And if you do this in the morning, you can watch the sunrise and watch the light that is creeping into the day and lighting up the world. Just acknowledging that there's something powerful about this darkness, a wisdom that's in it. A little more playful way is you can set a place at the table with dishes and a chair for your well ancestors. Just have an empty chair with a table setting. It can be a symbol of welcoming them in more. If you know the language that they spoke, you could write the word welcome in their language and place it at the table, acknowledging the well ancient ancestors into your life and just inviting their wisdom in that moment or in your life in general. You can take a walk in nature and bring some of the nature into your home, create an altar of offerings with pine cones, leaves, and maybe add in some cookies and drink for the season, that playfulness. You could also put photos of ancestors who have died as a way of honoring them with nature, this cycle that we are so connected to. And if you want to walk at night, you can bring lanterns or flashlights to light the way, hug a tree, talk to the nature around you. And whenever I go out to the backyard to put composting, I always say, hello, beautiful trees, these magnificent trees that are there. Like just acknowledge that they're there. Just develop a relationship with nature that you see each day. You can also search on YouTube for ancient music of your ancestors. If you know the area of the world that your ancestors are from, either from a DNA test or from family stories, you can search for the drumming, the songs or prayers spoken in the native language. When I went to Sweden for 6 weeks, a few years ago, I would go to church with my friends and hear the Swedish words spoken by the pastor, and I do not speak Swedish, and yet somehow I would have thoughts about forgiveness on the day that the sermon was about forgiveness, or I'd have thoughts about love the day that he talked about love, and I would share what I was thinking about during the service, and they say, oh, that's what he was talking about, that's what he said. So I received the vibration in the language somehow, and I connected with it even when I didn't know what the words were. And then be curious about what you're already drawn to in the form of food, drink, and celebration. Disconnect from the world influence of a world that told you the should of how you celebrate this time. Accentuate and amplify the things that you're naturally drawn to. So I want to just talk about something else, and I'll use it as an example. But for the past month, I've been sharing that Elizabeth St. Germain and I are going to co-lead a 30-day experience that begins at the new moon, December 23rd. And we will have an opening ceremony on the equinox, December 21st, and then utilize the 8 phases of the moon from one new moon to another to choose an ancestral pattern that you want to release and bring in a new vision of wellness in the physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual for your lineage. But I want to use this as an example of what I've been talking about with honoring the rhythm and cycles of nature, including the earth, moon, sun, and stars. Now, it may seem strange to offer a 30-day program in the middle of Hanukkah, Christmas, and Kwanzaa. People are too busy, focused on the rushing of the season, tired, they're ready to unplug from work and personal growth. And that's kind of the point. We've been taught when to, let's just say, market or launch a program based on some construct of the world that we're living in, right? But there's a particular alignment this year that supports the release of an ancestral pattern and plant the seed of something new. So again, I'm just using this as an example for you to tune in to the way that you are using the cycles all year long. This year, the day before the solstice, Jupiter is moving into Aries, and this happens once every 12 years. Jupiter moving into Aries is opening us to embrace our inner pioneer and to bring in a new pattern. The solstice on December 21st, which many say is because it is celebrated in all cultures, in all religions. It is, it's something that's from the ancient times. This acknowledgement of the solstice is an ending, probably even more of an ending and beginning than the new year that we have with December 31st and January 1st. But it's supporting us to release the old, to be in the darkness, and allow the energy of not knowing to guide us in this time of transition. We have access to inner knowing and deep wisdom during this time. Okay, so this leads us to the new moon on December 23rd this year. Last year, the new moon was December 4th, and next year it's December 12th. So the new moon does not follow the solstice every year. This is a specific alignment. The new moon on December 23rd is at 1 degree. Now, you don't have to know a lot about astrology. The significance is that this cycle we're in, November, December, January, and February, all the new moons are at 1 degree. So this is a time that 1 degree says, and the degree cycles are 1 to 29. This is a time of taking action for a new beginning. This is unusual to have this alignment. The focus of our 30 days is to release an old pattern and bring in a new pattern. This could be to release scarcity and bring in abundance, to release unworthiness and bring in worthiness, and so on. And the new moon is in Capricorn. And as the energy of endings are here with the solstice, we're being guided to new possibilities, planting seeds for a new structure in our world and in our ancestry. This is a divine magical setup. So I want you to notice if this year during the cycles that you're in of this season, if you're all of a sudden feeling like, wow, usually I just love the parties and gatherings this year, but this year I'm feeling like I just need to pull in. I just want to sleep. I want to dream. I want to rest. There's a good indication that you're feeling the cycle that nature is calling you to. So learning to work with the cycles of nature during the holiday seasons, during any time of the year when we have this construct of a pattern of we're all supposed to be doing this type of, whatever the type of thing is, the collective agreement that we have. When you're learning to work with the cycles of nature, including the stars and the planets, we can also listen to the messages from our body. Paying attention to the shifting of the season, reclaim a connection to the power of slowing down and resting during a season of darkness. The final thing I want to say about the ancestors is to find some simple ancient traditions and rituals that connect you with the land and the ancestry that is carried in your body, blood, bones, and DNA. I'm going to end with a short reflection about the first Christmas I spent alone. It was in 2011. My husband had died 6 years earlier. My two oldest daughters were with their partners, and my youngest daughter and I were living in California. None of us were living close to each other. I had family on the East Coast. Both my daughter Hannah and I had pet sitting jobs that year, and we were sleeping at the homes with the animals. I was taking care of two elderly dogs who woke up in the middle of the night and needed some extra loving care. So on Christmas morning, I woke up to take care of this sweet old blind dog, and I'm kind of stumbling to the porch to let him out on the balcony for a quick pee while I sleepily walked into the kitchen for a cup of coffee. And as I walked, I had this palpable feeling of love that where it was so strong, I stopped and put my hands on my heart, like, whoa, what's going on? Like this feeling of love. And I wondered what was happening. And then I remembered it was Christmas. And I thought, wow, this is what it feels like to be in this field of love and hope and magic. It was so quiet. It was still and peaceful. This is what has been cultivated underneath the presence and all the trimmings. This is what peace on earth really feels like. So I will leave you with that, my friends, today, that feeling and tapping into what it really feels like for you this holiday season, knowing that you can talk with your ancestors, bring in some ancient traditions. If you are interested in the 30-day experience, you can go to ancestormoon.com, the one that Liz and I are co-leading. And if you are interested in trying out ancestral lineage healing with me, you can, I have an introductory rate that I've just decided is ongoing because it's a way for you to taste the first 3 sessions and decide if you want to continue. So I'll post that there too. And thank you, Ginny, as always, for an opportunity to reflect on things in life and share ideas with the community and the world, right? Because you have that wonderful channel where people can go and listen to the talks. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you,
everyone.
Andrea. I love every talk you've ever done, and I think this is my favorite of all time. So thank you. And I'm going to ask everybody here to unmute yourself so Andrea can hear our applause and our sounds of whatever we want to say to her about how we enjoyed this talk. So yay.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Andrea. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
And I want to thank anyone who's watching this live, or if you're watching it live, comment below and tell us what you're thinking about it. Or you may be watching this on our YouTube channel. If you'd like to join us for one of these online gatherings, you can see my website information in the text. Please come over there and join us. We have a number of opportunities every month, starting in January. This is our last one for December. And you can go to my website, as I said, opwgc.com, and find out all about our community. Thank you.